4.1 Scope Overview. The scope knowledge area is divided into 6 processes. Here's a trick to remember the number of processes for the scope knowledge area. Grab a pen and paper and write down the word scope. As you can see, there are 5 letters. Next, write down a 1. Now I'm sure you're wondering, how does 1 fit into this? Easy. When planning a project, the first thing you need to understand is the project scope. Scope 1 has a total of 6 characters, the same as the number of processes in the scope knowledge area. So what is scope? The scope of the project includes the range of work that you will be doing, as well as the range of work that you will not be doing. This is important to remember. The work that you're not doing is referred to as exclusions. As we discussed in Module 3, there is a distinct difference between the product scope and project scope. You'll need to remember that for the exam. The product scope includes a detailed description of the functions and characteristics of the product that the project seeks to create. The project scope, however, includes not only the product scope, but also all of the activities that need to be performed in order to successfully develop that product. Remember, scope must be fully understood before you can develop either a schedule or budget. Now let's take a look at the distribution of the processes of the scope knowledge area. As you can see, 4 of the 6 processes are found in planning, while the 2 remaining processes are found in monitoring and controlling. You may be wondering why there are no processes that occur during executing. This is because the scope of the work is actually produced in the integration process of direct and managed project work. Next, let's examine the difference between design and functional scope, since you'll likely encounter a question on the exam such as, what is the difference between design and functional scope? Functional scope is when the functions or performance specifications of the product are known. The creator of the product may arrive at the functional scope in whatever way he or she chooses, as long as the end function of the product is aligned with the customer's expectations. Design scope, however, is more specific. The product or service must be built in accordance to a premeditated methodology. Another concept we need to understand is scope creep. Scope creep is when work is being performed which is either excluded from the project or not accounted for in the project. Here's a practical example of scope creep. You decide to renovate your kitchen. However, once you start painting the walls, you decide you should also paint the dining room walls. Assuming that the original scope of the project was only to renovate the kitchen, painting the dining room walls is considered to be scope creep.